What does it take to be a legend in the octagon? Well, today's tale is about one such legend, a man whose skills were so smooth, they nicknamed him the Spider. So grab your seat and let's swing into the web of Anderson Silva's extraordinary journey in the UFC. This is the legends of the former middleweight champion the world can never forget. Anderson Silva, born on April 14, 1975 in Sao Paulo, Brazil, rose from Taekwondo at 14 to become an MMA legend. However, the pinnacle of his success crumbled unexpectedly at UFC 162 in 2013. Facing Chris Weidman, Silva, with a record of 33 wins and 4 losses, entered the octagon with confidence. The fight took a shocking turn when Silva, known for his showboating, taunted Weidman in the second round. We shall unfold the story along the way. So here's the fight history of Anderson Silva so far. UFC 64, Anderson Silva versus Rich Franklin. In an epic clash at UFC 64, in October 14, 2006, Anderson Silva entered the octagon with a record of 19 wins and 4 losses, facing the middleweight champion Rich Franklin, who boasted an impressive record of 22 wins and only 1 loss. The anticipation in the air was palpable as both fighters geared up for a middleweight championship bout. The weight class was set, and the stage was primed for an unforgettable showdown.
You know, I think ever since he left the school...
Going to come over the top with his elbows.
Oh, good answer by Rich Franklin.
Silva, already recognized for his striking prowess, wasted no time showcasing his mastery in the art of stand-up fighting. From the opening bell, he exhibited precision and finesse that left the audience in awe. Franklin, known for his resilience, found himself overwhelmed by Silva's calculated attacks. The peak of Silva's striking clinic occurred in the first round. Swift and lethal, Silva's strikes landed with pinpoint accuracy, dismantling Franklin's defenses.
He exposed his head.
And he took a punch, which has got his left arm there to try to protect
the audience witnessed a display of technical brilliance as Silva systematically broke down the champion. The fight reached its conclusion as Silva's attacks proved too much for Franklin to endure. In a moment that would resonate in MMA history, Silva claimed victory and, more significantly, the middleweight championship.
The stop to this call, the new UFC, the Spider!
The reign of the Spider had begun. UFC 82, Anderson Silva versus Dan Henderson. Fast forward to UFC 82 on March 1st, 2008. And Anderson Silva, now holding a record of 21 wins and 4 losses, faced off against Dan Henderson, a seasoned veteran with a record of 22 wins and 6 losses. This bout wasn't just a title defense, it was a title unification showdown, as Silva aimed to merge the Pride Middleweight Championship with his UFC Middleweight Championship. The weight class was, once again, middleweight, and the stakes were higher than ever.
Then he attacks. He gives you some time, lets you do what you gotta do, and then he comes on strong.
Silva, known for his striking brilliance, entered the octagon with the added challenge of taking on Henderson's well-rounded skill set. As the fight unfolded, Silva showcases his adaptability and diverse skill set. Henderson, a formidable opponent, pushed Silva, but the Spider demonstrated his ground game capabilities. In the second round, Silva seized the moment, securing a rear naked choke that forced Henderson to submit.
Silva got his clinch.
Silva's victory not only defended his UFC middleweight championship, but also unified the Pride and UFC titles.
Silva looking to choke out Henderson.
Deep trouble.
Anderson Silva.
This marked a significant achievement in Silva's career, solidifying his status as a true champion with a flair for both striking and grappling. UFC 101, Anderson Silva versus Forrest Griffin. In the summer of 2009, Anderson Silva, with a record of 24-4-0, made a strategic move to the light heavyweight division, facing the formidable Forrest Griffin, whose record stood at 16-5-0. The fight itself was a masterpiece in Silva's career. Silva's striking precision and versatility overwhelmed Griffin, who struggled to find an answer to the Brazilian's calculated attacks. In a stunning display of dominance, Silva secured a first-round knockout victory. The precision and speed of his strikes left Griffin unable to mount any significant offense.
Down goes Griffin!
I think he really is trying to send a message here, Mike.
Looking to finish the fight!
The victory over Griffin at UFC 101 had a profound impact on Silva's legacy.
It's all over! Anderson Silva has knocked out Boris Griffin!
Wow.
UFC 112, Anderson Silva versus Demian Maia. In contrast to the triumph against Griffin, Silva's bout against Demian Maia at UFC 112 in April 2010 was marred by controversies and criticisms. With a record of 25-4-0, Silva faced Maia in the middleweight division, where Maia held a record of 12-1-0. The fight itself was marked by Silva's lackluster performance and showboating.
He is watermark. He is the bench.
Confident, the hands are all over the place.
Taunting Maia throughout the bout, Silva frustrated fans and even drew criticism from UFC President Dana White. Despite his antics, Silva won the fight via unanimous decision. But the victory was overshadowed by the disappointment of fans who expected a more engaging contest. UFC 117, Anderson Silva versus Chael Sonnen. In a big fight on August 7, 2010, Anderson Silva and Chael Sonnen faced off in the UFC 117. Silva had won 27 fights and lost 4, while Sonnen had 24 wins, 10 losses, and 1 draw. They were in the middleweight division, a weight class where fighters are not too heavy. The fight was hard and went on for almost 5 rounds. Chael Sonnen was in control for most of the fight, using his wrestling and powerful attacks. Silva, usually the dominant one, had a tough time defending against Sonnen's skills. It seemed like Sonnen might do what many thought was impossible, beat Silva.
Chael Sonnen up. Big seconds. Oh, big shot. Big one. Where can he put on Silva? Oh, my!
But in the last minutes of the 5th round, something incredible happened. Silva, the champion, showed why he was one of the best. He used a move called a triangle choke to surprise Sonnen. This move made Sonnen give up, and Silva won the fight.
Chael's in big trouble. Chael's got his legs. He's got his legs across. That's what he's done it. It's all over. It is all over.
This not only made Silva the winner, but also allowed him to keep his middleweight championship. The fight between Silva and Sonnen didn't stop there. It got even more intense, and they had a second fight. Rematch at UFC 148, Anderson Silva versus Chael Sonnen. They met again on July 7, 2012, in another big event called UFC 148. Silva still had the middleweight championship, and this time he wanted to prove that his win in the first fight wasn't luck. The fight began with excitement. Sonnen, once again, showed his wrestling skills and controlled the first round.
Chael Sonnen was all over Anderson Silva.
However, everything changed in the second round. Silva, known for his striking, did something clever. He dodged a punch from Sonnen and hit him with a powerful knee. This made Sonnen vulnerable, and Silva took advantage of it. Silva landed many strong hits, and the referee had to stop the fight. Silva won by TKO in the second round at 155.
That could be deemed a knee to a downed opponent. But the action continues.
This victory not only settled the score with Sonnen, but also showed Silva's ability to come back and win, even when things were tough. UFC 162, Anderson Silva versus Chris Weidman won. During his remarkable career, Anderson Silva enjoyed a historic reign as the UFC middleweight champion, and it felt like no one could touch him. But on July 6, 2013, at UFC 162, things took an unexpected turn in his first fight with Chris Weidman. Silva was defending his title against Chris Weidman. People were excited, but the result shocked everyone. During the fight, Silva, who was known for his clever moves called showboating, started pretending to be weak in the second round. But Weidman saw through the act and landed a strong left punch, knocking out Silva. This was a big deal because Silva was seen as unbeatable, but in that moment, he fell.
Anderson. Oh, he got hit! Looking to finish it! It is all over! Chris Weidman!
UFC 168, Anderson Silva versus Chris Weidman 2. After the loss, Silva wanted another chance, and so a rematch with Weidman happened at UFC 168 on December 28, 2013. This time, things got even more sad. In the first round, Weidman hit Silva hard, and in the second round, something terrible happened. Silva tried a leg kick, but Weidman blocked it, and Silva's leg broke on impact. The fight was stopped, and Weidman won by TKO in the second round. The audience was silent as Silva lay in pain. It was a terrible injury, and everyone wondered if Silva could ever fight again. Despite this, Silva showed incredible strength. He didn't give up. Even though his leg was broken, he wanted to keep fighting. This moment wasn't just about a fight. It became a symbol of Silva's courage and determination. He refused to let this bad moment define his whole story. UFC 183, Anderson Silva versus Nick Diaz. In his highly anticipated comeback, Anderson Silva faced Nick Diaz in a catchweight superfight on January 31st on Super Bowl weekend in 2015. Silva, the former middleweight champion, showcased his resilience and skill in the octagon after a career-threatening leg break in 2013. The judges unanimously scored the fight in favor of Silva, marking a significant victory for the Spider. Having won by unanimous decision, the joy of this victory was tempered by a revelation that both Silva and Diaz had failed drug tests. Silva tested positive for drostanolone metabolites, raising concerns about the integrity of the sport. Despite the victory in the cage, the failed drug test cast a shadow over Silva's accomplishment, sparking debates about fair play and the use of performance-enhancing substances in MMA. UFC Fight Night 84, Anderson Silva versus Michael Bisping. In 2016, he faced Michael Bisping at UFC Fight Night 84, resulting in a loss via unanimous decision. Later that year, at UFC 200, Tate versus Nunes, he fought Daniel Cormier and experienced another loss through a unanimous decision. Until next time, this is Anderson Silva's story, signing off with a question for you. Which fighter do you think carries the torch of the Spider's legacy in today's UFC? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to get more interesting stories in UFC.